Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service. This morning we're going to practice meditation first. After the meditation, we have Dhamma talk and chanting. Now, Reverend Chandasara is going to start the metta meditation.
Good morning to everyone. Let's practice loving kindness meditation in this way. And please do not limit these words into words or verbal actions. Just internalize these words so that will be greatly helpful to us. So let's practice. May all the living beings be physically healthy. May all the living beings be free from external danger. May all the living beings be mentally healthy. Let's continue practicing loving kindness meditation in this way until we hear the bell sound. Once again, I'll recite. May all the living beings be physically healthy. May all the living beings be free from external danger. May all the living beings be mentally healthy.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. uh, Before they start the Dharma talk, I just want to say a few things regarding next Sunday program. Next Sunday, we're going to celebrate the Buddha's birthday, enlightenment, and the passing away, which we call the Vesaks. We're going to do the outside backyard in our temple. We're going to give a dhan for the monks. I believe we have 6 months, and we're going to give the lunch for the everybody, and we are going to blessing for everybody also. Please come and join with us. It's going to be outside if you like. Today, Dhamma talk is going to give Sailesh Maharjan. He's our one of the teacher. Last few months, I think last 2 or 3 months, he didn't give anything because he was a little bit busy, and I hear he got some kind of accident also. I hope he's completely recovered right now. And Silas, are you there?
Yes, Bhante, I'm here.
Right, you can start your Dhamma talk. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling 85% good, Bhante.
All right, good to hear. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante. Bhante, do you want me to time? How long should I time the talk?
20 minutes.
Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa navana rupena naro sujano navissase taradassanena susanyatanang hi vyanjanena asanyata lokamiman charanti. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to join this group again. Like Bhante said, I wasn't able to join the Sunday service last few months, but I'm happy that today I have this opportunity one more time. Like Bhante mentioned earlier, the Buddha's birthday is coming up, so it's a time for us to check how close are we to the Buddha now, because there is a famous song in Sinhala. The song goes like, the translation is, we may have seen the Buddha in the past, we may have heard his teaching in the past, but we didn't do enough merit to become enlightened. That's why we're still in this cycle of samsara. And when I hear that song, it make me think, if you know Buddhist stories, and so many stories, so in those stories you hear there are good audience who goes to the Buddha and listen to his teaching, take the advice and put them into practice. But in that crowd, there are some people who don't go to the temple. They are living around the Buddha's temple, but they don't go inside. What they do, they just like, they're proud. They're like, who cares? He's just another teacher. So they walked by. And probably we must have been one of those, right? We had the opportunity, but we didn't take it. We just like, who cares? He's just another teacher. And now here we are after 2,600 years later, still trying to figure out how to get there. So it's about a bit of a delay, but it's better late than never. So during this special time from the Buddhist calendar, the Buddha's birthday is coming up soon. And unfortunately, last year and a half, we all went through major struggle with life adjustment. Now, what used to be normal is not anymore the same. And we struggle with a lot of challenges. And from the studies and from the surveys that we know, in general, disregarding who you are, what you work for, what your age is, the mental problem rate has increased by 30 to 50% across the board. So, if you think, even we as Buddhists, definitely we are affected. So how do we take care of ourselves? What do we do? What does Buddha advise about it? Well, he has tremendous advice for us. Some of them is, one thing I want to share today is, it may not be pleasant, but it's a very practical advice from the Buddha. We continue to have conflict with people as long as we forget that we are mortals. Now we are bound to die at some point in our life. And if you remember that you are subject to death, one day or sooner or later, you will die, that will subside so many conflicts, so many arguments and disputes. And he gave this advice because one of the meditation approaches that we have is Marananusati, so reflection or recollection on death. Because when you think of in the Marananusati teaching, it goes Pavadadipatulyaya Sayusantati. Our life is just like a lamp, oil lamp. It's constantly under threat. Either it will run out of the oil or the thread, or the wind can blow it off even you have everything there. So is our life. And we saw that practically last 15 months. So many young people died. They were not there yet. And we have this misconception. Life continues from birth to 60, 70, 80, whatever life expectation we have. That's not true for everyone. And we saw that during this pandemic. And what do we do? So do we run away? Well, that's one option you can do. You can try. And Buddha advised in Dhammapada, well, there is no place to hide from that. I cannot remember the Pali, so I'm a little rusty now. So there is a verse in Dhammapada, you cannot hide in the middle of the ocean or in the deep cave to run away from death. No matter where you go, it will get you. And probably these days, the more contemporary example would be, you cannot go to the Mars and escape death. There's no way you can do that. Whether you're in the moon or to the Mars, it will follow you. So the point is, there is no escape. So how do we reflect then? Well, one thing that in the Gatha Buddha reminded was, well, you have to think about death as a motivating factor, not like a fear, making you fearful. Because yes, it's a sad moment. It will be sad to leave all the beloved ones, but that motivates you to do good while you are alive. And that's a very important message. And I used to play a video by Steve Jobs in, I think, one of the prestigious universities, where he was telling his story. You can find that video. And he started, in a nutshell, the message I wanted to share with you is that he started finding, the greatest invention, the Apple products, that whole $1 trillion company today. When he started working on that, he was able to do the best or the most when he realized that he has limited time. And he is diagnosed with this, untreatable disease, and he know how long time he has left. So he was able to reflect on that and get the best out of this life. And that's what we need to do. When you think of death, it's not to run away or try to avoid or ignore, but it's a reminder, well, you have limited time. And there's another sutta, and Buddha, he is very good. He used math, and I tell this in other programs too. If you estimate, now I may not be good at math, so I don't know if I can write on the screen. That might be a little more interactive. Let me see. Oh, I cannot share the screen. So anyway, so if you do the math, I'm 35, and I'm sure you have your age. I hope you remember your age. That's good. So if you remember your age, and you have like estimated number of years for yourself. For me, probably 75 to 80. So if I think 75, I'm left with 40 years. And if you already are 75, I don't know what your estimated time for yourself. You may have lesser time than me. So when you do the math, you will find, for me, 40 years. 40 years times how many months do we have? So multiply that by 12. Or just to skip that, I can quickly do 40 times 365. Now I got 14,600 days left. Now 14,600 divided by 3, out of that I have to lose about 4,600 for sleeping part, right? If you sleep on average 6 to 8 hours, if I have 40 years left, I have only 10,000 days left. Now that 10,000 days, if I plan to go for my PhD program, I'm raising a daughter, she's going to consume so much time, so many other social and cultural responsibilities, you don't have much time left. 10,000 days, guys. It's not 100,000. I have 10,000 days if I were to live 40 years, excluding the time I sleep. I cannot, reduce sleeping. Okay, I'm going to give up sleeping. That's not going to work. So the point is, we have very limited time. Within that 10,000 days, I have to figure out what do I want to do. And that's where this reminder of death is important. It brings us this idea, what is the goal of my life? And the early Gatha I mentioned, it's in one of the Sutta collection, the collection of connected discourses. It's in the teaching that Buddha gave to King Kosala. He was a very close friend of Buddha. He was same age as the Buddha. He was 80 when Buddha was 80, so there are a lot of interaction between those two, the King Kosala and the Buddha. And the story goes, one day he visited the Buddha, and while he was sitting there, being king, being a political figure, he has to constantly maintain relationship with multiple religions and also leaders. So while he was having discussion with the Buddha, he happened to see few other religious folks walking by in front of the temple. And he immediately stood up from the seat and went to show respect. And he came back to the Buddha and he told, but those people, those who just passed by, they are just like you. They're enlightened beings. So I went to respect them. And Buddha knew who they were. And the king was sort of lying to the Buddha. And the Buddha advised him, a man is not easily known by outward form or look. By this quick appraisal, you cannot judge what kind of person the person is. And sometimes people, you cannot trust people by just seeing once or twice. So sanyatanang hi vinyanjanena. There are people who are well disciplined from outside, asanyata lokamiman charanti, but internally, their mind and their mentality is not very healthy or not very good ones. And Buddha advised the king, Buddha was telling, it's not what you show, what you appear to the world is not really you. It should be coming from inside. And Buddha gave him 4 pieces of advice, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Especially using those 4 advices, not only to judge or choose companions for yourself, but also use that to look at yourself, look at from other people's perspective. And the number 1 is Sangwasena ko Maharaja Silang Veditabang. If you want to know someone's virtue, someone's morality, you have to live with that person. And not for a short time, very long time. Not unmindfully, but very attentively, and not unwisely, very wisely. So he gave this first piece of advice. You want to know someone's morality, you have to live with that person. And second piece of advice was Sangwu Harin ko Maharaja Socheyang Veditabang. If you want to know, someone's patience, you have to deal with that person. You have to interact, you have to associate, so you know what kind of fortitude or patience that person has. from upfront, you may be known as, oh, a very patient person. There's another sutta about similar topic. But when there is actual trouble, the person might lose patience. And the third piece of advice was Apada Sukho Maharaja Thamo Viditabbo. When there is adversities, you know person's tolerance, how much you can bear, endurance. And the last piece of advice was Sakachai Maharaja Panya Viditabbo. You want to know someone's wisdom, you have to engage in discussion and dialogues. So these four pieces of advice Buddha gave to know the person's virtue, his fortitude, his patience, and his wisdom. And this, again, the Buddha gave advice to the king to know about other people, but I want to use that to know about ourselves. During this Vesak time, how can we change ourselves? What can we do to get closer to that destination? If you follow the Buddha's teaching and you believe in his approach, we want to finally attain the enlightenment. And that enlightenment is possible if you are clean from inside, if you are practicing these rules, these principles from inside, not only just from the outer layers. And that's hard part. That's a hard part. So on this, when we are close to celebrate Buddha's birthday, perhaps we can do a couple things. Number one, keep that death in perspective. The life is ephemeral. It's going to end soon, and we have limited time. Doing your math, take your time when you have free time. Calculate how long you want to live and how much time you're left with. And if you have very clear plan for the rest of your life, put those numbers into perspective, and you will have a little better sense. Why wasting time fighting for some of those useless discrimination, meaningless conflict, rather than focusing on yourself. And on that sense, I encourage everyone to be a little bit selfish. Forget about the others, find your path. And if we all do, like I have 17 people today, if we all do, 17 of us find our path, like the Bhante, I forgot the name, the other Bhante who did loving kindness, don't limit these teachings to word, put them into practice. Simple skill that I learned from my teacher who recently passed away, loving kindness. He practiced loving kindness for over 55 years, and he saw the benefits of it. Not that he changed the world, but he changed himself. And that's like Buddha's endeavor. That's what his message was. Some novel scholars in Buddhism criticized the Buddha. Oh, he left his wife. He left this newborn child, and he went to the forest and started meditating. True. If he were not selfish, we're not here today. His selfishness found liberation for a lot of people. And because of that selfish journey, including his family and us today, we have this common goal. So yes, it was a selfish deed if you are very, narrow-minded. But later, he did come back. Nobody talks about it. The scholars totally forget the later story. He came back. He showed the path. He liberated his wife, his son, his parents. So it was not all just selfish. So in that sense, I want all of us to be selfish. We need to find that, I don't know, probably 10 minutes in our day, be selfish, do something that would improve your spiritual journey. For Buddhist, my biggest recommendation is, along with listening to Dhamma and practicing generosity, meditation is not an excuse. If you don't practice meditation at least 5 to 10 minutes, starting from a week, let's take in 1 week, if you don't practice 5 to 10 minutes meditation, I don't think you qualify to call yourself the Buddhist, or you learn from the Buddha, because otherwise that's only what you see from outer layers. It's hard to judge if you actually are following his teaching. So to keep that, make it a resolution on the Buddha's birthday, along with lighting candles, celebrating his birthday. I bet if Buddha was around, if we all promised to him, Bante, I'm going to start meditating 5 minutes at least once a week, or that's very minimum. I mean, that's like a nothing. But if you can bring it to once a week to once a day, Buddha would say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu for that determination. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So let's make the Buddha praise us through action. Let's make this resolution that we will start practicing either loving kindness, breathing meditation. If you want to go deeper, reflecting on nature of life, which is impermanence, dissatisfaction, and non-self. And go on that path and use, for me, that 10,000 days, use the best out of it and get closer to the Buddha, to the enlightenment. So I wish all of you very good luck with this. I hope you will make that resolution for the Buddha's birthday. It's a best gift we can give to the Buddha on his birthday. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Silas. If you have any question, you can ask, or you can say your opinion. Please, we have little time. Still, you can ask the question. Yes, Amin.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Sailesh.
Call me Sai.
Sai. For coming to talk to us. Interesting enough, I mean, I've heard the story of how the Buddha left his family. And of course, everybody thinks that's selfish. And it got me thinking about how a lot of times when we see suffering in the world, we try to end that suffering first. It's like, how can I bring, I would say, like world peace right now? How can I make the world less dangerous, less troublesome? And it got me thinking that maybe the part of the story about why the Buddha left his family, it wasn't so much that he could not see their suffering, but he couldn't do anything about their suffering until his liberation. And I that's what I actually just got. That's a lot of times we focus trying to eradicate the suffering outside of us when we haven't eradicated the one in us.
Yes, Salvin, thank you for that question. And I think you answered in your own, question that if you want to bring peace in the world, it starts within. It starts with you, and then it expands to your closer surrounding. And I think that's what Buddha realized during that before pre-enlightenment. He had a luxurious life. He was a prince. He was a king for 13 years, and he couldn't do much about some of the things that is out of our control. Like what he saw that really struck him was aging, sickness, death. And you could give food if somebody's hungry. You could give shelter if somebody's homeless. But if somebody's aging and you give medicine, nothing works out, that's where you throw your hands up, like, I don't know what to do. And Buddha saw that, and he sought, okay, what is the cause? If I don't know the cause of this origin of suffering, I'm just treating the branches. I'm just treating the sprouts. I need to find the cause of this suffering. And that's where he left. And if you think like, how do I bring peace in the world? I don't know. I don't have like a, a super genius answer for that. I know it is more from like the Buddhist way. It's coming from inside. And I'll tell you this great philosopher, I think his name it's a Chinese philosopher, Confucius. He, probably it's not a true story, but it makes sense. He was young and full of energy, jestful. He wanted to bring peace to the world. And he started his journey in his 30s. Spent 10 years, figured that, this world is too big to bring peace. And he narrowed down, I'm going to work on my country. And China alone is a large country. So he spent another 10 years trying to figure out, bring peace, bring unity in China. Now he's 50. 10 years later, he realized this is not happening. And he thought, like, let me take care of my province, and I'm going to focus on my province and bring peace there. Spent 10 years, then he realized that alone was not possible. Then he was 60 now, and he's in 60s. He thought, let me try to take care of my village. Then another 10 years went, 70. Then he realized, wait, my family is still a chaos. I can't take care of family, so let me do my family first. In his 80s, he tried to do that, and at the close to his death, he realized, I think I started the wrong way. He realized that I have to figure out my own peace first, then go the bigger audience. And it was late for him. So that's a message for us. And if you want to bring peace to in a bigger scale, I think the best way to do what Buddha did was, Tenno Hantari Sami. I need to overcome these conditions before I show the path for others. If I'm sinking, I don't know how many people I can save. So that's why, when you read and learn about the Buddha's life story and suttas, it sounds, I don't know the English word, the selfish sound really mean, but in Pali, the term is attahita, or in Sanskrit, the word is atmartakami, the one who desire well-being of self. That's the meaning of atmartakami. But English word is selfish. It's little harsh. I don't know other word that's similar to selfish. Or if I tell, doing seeking well-being of yourself. So the journey starts with you and your approach to problems, and then you can influence, you can share that knowledge, and people follow. Like the Buddha's journey. He started himself, then there was 5 people, then was 60, then 1,005. It went on, and now he has millions of followers. Sylvan.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, I want to clarify that it wasn't so much that I want to bring world peace, but the whole concept, again, to the word selfish in English, that it seems so selfish.
It does sound selfish.
That is not being selfish. To one of your last comments, I cannot save you while I'm sinking. And a lot of times we think like we have this superpower when we're still struggling. So just wanted to clarify that. Hearing the story of the Buddha, it made me realize that is not being selfish, because he couldn't save them because he had not saved himself. He still was suffering.
Yes.
So thank you again.
No, that's yes. Any other questions, guys?
Any other question? No? It looks like a no more question, Silas. Thank you again, Silas. Hope to see you soon. I wish you everything will be good for you, and thank you again.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Okay. All right. We're going to chanting the page 4 and page 10 plus some Pali chanting also. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma Buddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Buddham saranam gacchami
Dhamman
saranam gacchami Sangham saranam gacchami Itipiso bhagava araham samma sambuddho Vichacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manusanam buddho bhagavati Swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko Ihipasiko opanayiko pacchattam veditam purinyo iti Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samici patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidam chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala Ise bhagavato savaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo Anutterang punyakitang lokasati Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata Sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotte bhavantu te Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata Sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata Sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te Nakhatayakha bhutanam papakka nivarana Paritassanubhavena hantu te sangupadave Sentient beings are numberless I vow to save them all Deluding passions are inexhaustible I vow to end them all Dharma gates are limitless I vow to study them all Buddha's way is supreme I vow to attain it May suffering ones be suffering free and the fearless be. May the grieving shall all grieve and the sick find help relief. May all merits be extended to everyone. There we together all be Thank you again for everybody. Thank you all the monks, and thank you Ashan also. Again, I want to talk a little bit about the Vesak celebration. If you feel too safe, please come and join with us. We're going to do outside. We have dana for the monks, and we have lunch for all the people who are attending. I believe around 10 to 15 people will come. Don't bring anything. We provide everything. Again, thank you for everybody. By the power of the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha, by the power of all the Dhamma and all the chanting, you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Thank you again. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And the last Sunday of this month, I believe 30 of the May this month, Subodha is going to give a Dhamma talk. Again, thank you again. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.